This
My
conference will now be recorded.
okay, go to meeting toolbar. Okay, now okay, let me go to the okay. So we we did completed our unit one where we created the so we created the ERP EWM integration. So from the functional perspective, there were few new definitions or new concepts that we were supposed to understand. So one of them was business system group. We understood how business system group can be used to integrate more than one ERP system and map the master data, okay, of more than one ERP system. We spoke about business system, which does similar role when we are mapping the transactions from multiple ERP system, and basically we understood how a particular ERP, if or basically for one or more ERP, if there are chances of the number range overlapping, how we can avoid that by using some body implementation. Then we went on with our functional definitions for supply chain unit. We understood, supply chain unit is the structure, not a structure. It's a kind of a master data where we store address and time zone related information for the warehouse. Custodian, it's the business partner which basically tells us who keeps custody of the stock, especially used in third party warehousing scenarios. Partner to dispose, it's mostly your plant who is entitled to take decisions for planning your stock or disposing it. So your plant becomes the entitled to dispose. If the warehouse is connected to multiple ERP systems, then we'll keep the part entitled to dispose as blank. Owner, this is a process oriented. This is related to a process, and we don't define it as default or at warehouse level. So basically, if the process demands changing the owner, system will automatically change. You can also manually go and change the ownership of a stock. One example that we saw was of vendor consignment, where the owner changes when we receive vendor consignment stock, and we convert the stock from vendor consignment to own. We change it back to the plant as the owner. Okay. Then we also generated distribution model to activate the bodies to send the data from ERP to EWM. Since we are using the um, S4HANA system, we also did CKM start to do the production startup of material ledger. Okay, so these are settings that we completed last session. Now today we'll start with a new topic, which is storage bins. Okay, so before we start, any questions from anyone? Anything anybody would like to discuss before we go ahead? Okay, if no questions, then let's proceed. There is so much silence. I doubt whether you guys are able to hear me or not. Okay, okay, fine. Thanks for confirming. So, alright, let's start with storage bins. So, what are storage bins? The location, exact location where we store the stock. Okay, so in a warehouse, we saw storage type, we saw sections. So, basically, your whole warehouse premise, now you're not only storing in that particular building or complex, we are going to store the stock into that exact location, okay, into an exact bin location. So the bin location, when we create a bin, we will assign the bin to a storage type and storage section. Okay, so bins in EWM are of 18 characters. Very important, very important to know this, because when we create the bin in WM, the length was 10 characters. Okay, now SAP has in EWM has changed it to 18 characters. Okay, now there is also one more difference when SAP created storage bins in S4, not in S4, I would say in EWM. The bins in EWM are unique across the warehouse, and they cannot be duplicated across storage types. So if I create a bin in storage type 8001, let's say I create a bin 0101, okay, in WM I could create the same bin 0101 in 8002 as well. Okay, but now in EWM you can have just one bin with one name across warehouse. So if I create 0101 in 8001, I cannot create the same bin in any other storage type. Just one bin across warehouse. Okay, so as we slowly explore EWM with the next, structure elements like activity areas and understand sorting and other things, you'll slowly understand, why SAP has done that. But uh, but yeah, the good thing is 18 characters. The length has increased, so we can have more details into the name of the bin. And also, please keep in mind, your bin name is unique. Okay. So location, exact bin location, we create them like this. So there are different transaction LSO1, LSO2, LSO3. To mass change, you can create it in LS11. So here, the bin when you create, you say which storage type it bin belongs to. If you have sections, we said uh, we have section only for 8003. So only in storage type bins of storage type 8003 will put the section. Otherwise, we will not maintain the section. Okay. So we have already understood that in EWM, creating a section is optional. We can proceed without creating a section. We can have storage type without sections. In WM, creation of section was mandatory, but not here. So again, if same thing applies to the bin, you only maintain storage section the when you really need it. Okay, where the storage type is has storage section. Otherwise, there is no need to maintain this field. Okay, so at this stage, I'll explain you some of the important fields of bin. So these are the important fields of bins. Bin master, and if you can see here, we have additional tabs like stock, where you can see what is the stock in that bin. For definition purpose, only this tab is important. These other tabs are automatically updated as we go through a process.
Rohan, storage types are storage bins
No,
everywhere.
storage types are not storage bins.
Okay,
Storage
yeah,
bins
I
are
think I misheard. You were saying that we only have to do this configuration if we really need it.
storage section. I was
Oh,
telling about
storage. Oh,
storage.
sorry.
Storage sections. So we
Got it,
only
got it.
create sections when we really need it, whether when we are dividing the storage tab into multiple sections or multiple groups. Okay. And
Yeah,
storage bin is created with storage type consists of several bin locations. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So
Rohan,
mhm.
storage type depends on the product or it depends on the warehouse?
Storage type is in warehouse. So just imagine a warehouse where you're going to store the parts. You will first create a warehouse before saying which product goes to which bin. You create a warehouse, you create bin location, you mark. Let's say you are starting a warehouse today. So you don't have any product. So you'll first create your warehouse, create the bins, and then bin is part of storage type. And then you decide whether for your picking or put away optimization, whether you want to um, assign it to a
Okay,
particular
okay.
product or not.
I get it. I get it.
So coming back to uh, the different data and storage bin, we have inventory data, bin section information. Then we have statistics data, like when was the bin created, last changed. We have activity areas. This is the next structure element that we are going to discuss. And what are the open tasks of that storage bin in terms of production process? What is the PSA? So all this information gets automatically updated. So when we are going to create a bin, we need to know these information. Okay. So some of these information are pretty much straightforward, like what are the XYZ coordinates of the bin. Okay. So if we are mapping the bin, we can map the whole warehouse into XYZ coordinates. That's the next generation warehouse where you'll have robots and you have all the automatic systems being used. So where exactly the robot or um, the automatic system should go, we will give the exact information through XYZ coordinates. You can still maintain it and you can use for distance calculation and other things. We'll see that as we go ahead. You maintain the capacity of the bin, so like how much this bin can sustain, how much weight, how much volume, what is the total capacity, how much capacity has been used so far, what is the number of HUs that can be stored in that bin. So all this information you can find here. Okay. Then there are like it will give you information number of handling units that can be stored. This is a verification field when we use scanners. The barcode, if you don't want to put these uh, special characters, we maintain a verification field, the same bin name without any special characters. It's easy for creating the barcodes. Then these are some of the other important fields which we may understand as we go ahead. This is used to control, which resource or which forklift have access to the bin. This is used to control, which pallets are stored into the bin. This is used to control how the flow of material will be when we are boosting a material into a storage type and removing metal out of a storage type. So this is called a storage type group. So we will understand that as we go ahead. Then at this point I want you to understand about aisle stack level. So I think most of you who have WM background will already know this. But those who are new to WM, I'll just spend 5 minutes to explain you what is aisle stack level. So aisle stack level is used basically for the it's for your rack storages. I will try to show you some clips which may help you understand it in more detail. Okay, so this is a dummy warehouse. Okay, it will show us a rack. Okay, and we will see into that rack uh, how aisle stack levels are defined. Okay, it's very simple. Just you need to uh, understand what are the naming conventions generally, the warehouses do. So this is a very simple basic warehouse. Okay, so this entrance, okay, is we call them as doors. Okay, so what happens, you have the trucks or trailers, they come here with their back facing this opening. Okay, and then the products are unloaded from the back of the truck onto this area. This is called a staging area. This area very close to the door. Okay, so this is called a staging area. So this is a typically this is your rack storage. Okay, so let's complete this clip and then I will explain you how do we name this kind of storage. Okay, so here you have forklifts, you have cranes. These are called as resources in EWM. Okay, we will see them in our master data. So basically, any object which is moving your stock from one location to another, it's called as resource. Okay, we call it a storage type. In this animation, they've called it as module. So this is one storage type with so many racks. Okay, so just try to understand these products. They are kept here, then they are taken here, they are made into packed according to customer requirements, and their containers are prepared over here for outbound. You understand this as an intermediate or a temporary packing area. So this is what we call as work center, okay, where we do packing and get the product ready for our outbound. So in these racks, you can see these wooden planks kept over here. These are pallets. On this, there'll be material kept, there'll be pumps kept over here, and they will be stored into these racks. Okay. So in warehouse, you'll find several other areas like charging area for the forklifts. There'll be office. In the office, there'll be warehouse supervisors that will be checking how the work is being going on into the warehouse. So in a warehouse, all work is created assigned through EWM. Who should pick what. Supervisor just has to monitor. If nothing is getting stuck or if there is any inputs that are required. Every work gets assigned through the system. Okay, so they get the deliveries, they process it, and then whereas supervisor just keeps a track of how things are being processed. So there are dashboards which the supervisors use to see the progress of the warehouse. So this is what we call as the staging area. So the trucks, they deliver the parts here, and then they are taking into the warehouse. That's the staging area. That was the staging area. Okay. So here you'll have your doors and your outbound staging areas. This is a very simple, there'll be multiple different types of, different types of warehouse. See, where no two warehouses are unique. Okay, so even if you have seen a warehouse, there are less chances that another warehouse will be same. Mm, Almost there are no, we say that there are no twin warehouses. You won't see any two warehouses which are same. So this is one typical warehouse. You go somewhere, it's a small, very, very small warehouse, I would say. You go somewhere, you see a type of warehouse, the number of storage type will change, number of doors will change, number of cranes will change, number of forklifts will change, this type of storages will change. But the typically you should be able to understand how to map these into the system. Okay, it can be one or more. So let's now understand. Come back to our you know topic and understand is this. Um, what is idle stack level? Okay. So here, if you can see, these are basically okay. So I need some marker. Just give me a minute. All right, let me try to understand. Okay, so you can see I'm going to draw this into my Excel, in front view and side view. So you can see these racks, each of this rack, or you can see a shelf, whatever you call it, each is called as aisle. So this is aisle 1, this is aisle. Okay, I got a marker here. Come on, allow me draw. Okay, please stop here. Okay, so I hope I'm able to draw now. So you can see here these. Okay, so let's forget it. Will create a something in Excel. So if you see these are these are basically the stacks. Okay, we call them as stack. So this is one stack. So this is one entire thing is an aisle. Okay, so if you see this aisle, come on, leave it. So this is an aisle. Okay, this entire thing is an aisle, and then this in aisle there are three stacks. Which is this one is a stack, this one is a stack. Okay, and then we call it as level. This is into three level. So when you see a bin, you know it has, if you see this bin location, the bin which is at the bottom, you know it is belonging to low level. Okay, the first stack and second aisle. So this is aisle 1, aisle 2, aisle 3, aisle 4, and each of this aisle have stacks. These are called as stacks. So you can decide how many stacks you want. So typical warehouse can go up to 8 stacks, 8, 10 stacks. There are very big racks. Okay, and then there are levels, how high you can go. In this case we are going 3 level. But a warehouse can go up to 8 level, 10 level. Very high warehouse automatic storage can go really dense, and these aisles will be really dense and will go really high. Here the forklift is being used. Sometimes there will be automated trucks will be used to store in the warehouse. Okay, so if you look into this through the side view. Okay, so if you look into the storage rack, this is a rack from the side view. So this is looks something like this. Okay, it is like this, the same which we saw in the diagram. Okay, if you see this from the side view. So these are basically level. This is level, let's say called as level A, low level. Okay, level B, and this is level C. Okay, and when you see this from the top view, okay, it look there are many aisles. Okay, this is aisle 1, and then let me give a gap here. Okay, this is aisle 2, this is aisle 3. Okay, this is aisle 4, and so on. So basically we can say I'll give a number, like I'll give a name. This is 01, aisle 02, aisle 03, and aisle 04. Okay, so there are, let's say, four aisles. Each of them have three stacks and three levels. Okay, so if we say stack, I will say these were levels. Okay, these are aisles, these are levels. Let me create this as stack. Stack 10, stack 20, stack 30. Now when we say, so if you have seen, very common, if you have observed, when you go to your grocery shopping, you say which aisle can I find rice bags, which aisle I can find grains, which aisle I can find vegetables. Okay, so you go to that aisle, and then there are several sections in that. So these are the stacks. Okay, and there is a bin, exact location where you find the product that you want to pick from your grocery shop, right? So when you go for your shoppings. Okay, so now same concept is used in industry, but why it is important to know, because rack storage is very important, and this helps us to name our bins. Okay, so if you see this bin, I would name it as I would name it as if this is my storage type 8001. Now my bin is of how many characters? 18 characters, right? So I would name this bin as 8001 dash. I'll give the name of this aisle, then stack, then level. I can, basically looking at the name itself, now the person who is doing the picking or he's putting the stock into the bin, he can quickly identify, where that bin is. Okay, so when in the scanner, if he's being told to go and place the material in 8001, he knows which storage type to go. In aisle 1, he knows, he needs to go here in this first aisle. Then stack 30, he knows, he has to go down. When he comes here, he has to go deep here, so that inside you can find, you can find some. Oh, it's yeah, it's inside here. You can find something, and then level B. That means it's in the middle level. Okay, so it's basically, if you see this, if you see this, okay, so line 30 something here. Okay, so if you see this, you know, uh, structure, it's very easy to identify a bin. Okay, level B by the aisle stack level. So we maintain that aisle stack level information at the bin level. Also, we create bins with the name so that it is easy to recognize. Okay, so it is, if looking at the bin itself, the picker or the putaway person can know exactly where to go. So this is one type of a, we call it as structure. How do you we define your bin structure? So I say my bin structure is storage type, okay, dash aisle dash stack dash level. Okay, I would say storage type is XX. I would say storage type is XXXX. Okay, then aisle AA is stack level, something like that. We have a storage type, naming structure, naming convention. Okay, this is one of the easiest way using which we identify the bins in the rack. Okay, some companies may follow different ways. Some may say stack, level, aisle. It doesn't matter. Uh, you know, the idea is to get the information looking at the bin name itself. So that is one of the reason SAP has made bin of 18 characters. You can have the bin, the warehouse number itself, in the storage type number itself. You can also have warehouse number itself in that bin name. You can have the storage type. Looking at the bin itself, you know which storage type, and then aisle stack level obviously was could be used in WM as well. Okay, so are you guys clear about aisle stack level? Shall we create the bins in system now?
Rohan, one question here.
Mm-hmm.
So for every warehouse, is it mandatory to follow this structure only for creating the bin? Storage type and stack level, or we can have something like bin 01, bin 02, like without defining coordinates. We can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. There is no such mandatory rule and system. You can create your own name. You can start with bin 1 to 100. It doesn't matter. It's not basically your decision. It's your warehouse supervisors or whoever has physically designed your warehouse. Before you go for SAP implementation, all the bins will be ready and they will be barcoded. And if you are the lead, or if you are early going into project where earlier these decisions are being made, then you can suggest this. But this is how industrial standards are. This is how, even if you use any other ERP, they will use something like this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let me log into system. Let us create this bins. So by the excuse me. So by the time I log into my system, um, just you know, just imagine, the bins in a warehouse can be so many, isn't it? So how are these bins created in mass? One of the very important question will be asked to you. So how these bins are created in mass in a project? Okay, so there is a tool which we'll see as we go ahead. There's a tool to create this bins in mass. Okay, so I'll first create a bin manually. Okay, and then we'll use the tool to create bins in mass. Okay, so in a project, ideally there will be ten thousands and hundred thousands of bins. So you can use that tool. It's basically an Excel upload tool. Using that tool, you can create bins in mass. Okay, so when you go live, you upload all the bins in the systems and they get created using that tool. Okay, so let us quickly create one bin, and then we will create some more bins using that tool. Okay, so here I would say, let me start with the rack storage and the first bin. So first bin is aisle 1, stack 10, level A. Okay, and here you can see 8001 is the storage type. I'll maintain aisle stack level information. Bin aisle is 01. Stack is 10. Level is A. So when I create the barcodes, I don't want special characters in the barcode. Okay, you can have special characters in barcodes also. But let's say I want the barcode to be created like this. When you scan a barcode where there are no special characters, you scan this barcode, then system will recognize this is this pin only. Okay, so I'm not keeping any capacity for my bin that will restrict us with that testing, but you can also maintain capacity to see whether it allows you up to that level or not. Okay, just save it and your bin is created. Okay, now if I want to create my next bins, let's say 10 bins in mass, so there is a transaction called, don't worry, all these transactions are there in the slide. Storage bin upload. Okay, in storage bin upload, we upload the Excel and we create those 10 bins in mass. Okay, so let us download the template format first. Okay, so I don't store the template format. I don't. Basically, it's, if you want, I have shared this load file in the shared drive, but I generally don't keep it handy. I just download it whenever I need it from here. Okay, so if you want, you can get a template file in the drive itself. Okay, this is storage bin uploads. We'll also see some other uploads as we go ahead, but yeah, let's start with the storage bin. So here I will say spreadsheet, and I will say the format here itself. I will say bin upload WH35. Okay, so it has to be a CSV file. Okay, so we will save it as CSV once we have done our changes. We'll have to save it as CSV and upload it. Okay, so this tool uses only CSV format. So this is our Excel. So all those fields that you can see on your screen in a bin creation, all are part of this layout. Okay, this Excel template. Okay, LCWH35 storage bin 801-01. My next bin is level B. Okay, 8001-1-10-C and 8001 one dash. I'll create bins in aisle one only. Okay, A 01 1 20 B 01 01 20 and so basically I'm creating all the bins of aisle one here. Okay, I'll similarly create bins of aisle 20 sorry aisle 2 3 4 5 whatever. I'll do that offline. So I'll show you how aisle one is created. Other bins also we can use the template and create event system. Okay. So all of them they belong to 8001. We said we don't want any sections, and we what did we do? We maintain the verification field. Let me also maintain that now. Should be here verification field for mobile data entry, and let me do Control F and oops, where is it? Okay, let me do a Control R. Okay, something's wrong with the shortcuts deleting the tab. Control Z. Something's wrong. I think I need to remove it manually. Control F. Okay, now it's working. So we can with blank replace all. Okay. So I have given my verification field here. I'll give the IL stack level information as well. So where is my ILS? For all these pins, the ILS 01. Yeah, I will just okay. So first 10, 10, 20, 20, 20, and 30, 30, 30. So I'm storing all the IL stack level information here. B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Okay. So now my template is ready. I'll save it. I'll say file save as, and I will save it into a CSV file. And then I will close it. Yes, I want to save. Please save and close. Okay. So I'll go here now, go to my desktop. I will say, where did I store it? Bin sorting. No. Let's look at my bin creation file where it is gone. Did I say it has been sorting by mistake? Okay. I think when I copied, I did not maintain the bin name properly. Bin creation. It's not sorting. Okay. So I will load it now. Load. Remember allow. So you can see all this data is getting copied over now, whatever we have maintained. Verification field, I'll stack level, and I will say create. So you can see 8 storage bins are created. So it goes into the successful changes. If it has failed, you will see it in the failed changes. Okay. Now if you go to transaction LS11, that's also mentioned in your document, in your PPT. You'll see all the bins which are created. You can see them in mass over here, and you can see we have now created 9 bins. We have just created all the bins for our aisle. Okay, first aisle. So this is how we create the bins in mass for the warehouse. Okay, we'll follow the same thing for creating bins. I'll create 10 aisles in 8001, 3 aisles in 8002. So create the bins in. So basically, if we go to a layout, all the storage types will have a layout like this. All these 3 storage type will have a layout like this. We will see as we go ahead, how we can create bins for these storage types. 8003 is open storage. I can create bins like this. So here the bin, I would just create an example. 8003, it's on the floor. So I'll just create one bin like this. It's very easy to create these bins because you know 8003 storage type is kind of on the floor we keep all the pipes and other things, easy to identify open storage. So I will just create bins like this in 8003. Very straightforward, yeah, nothing much. We don't have many bins. It's a bulky area where we store pipes and all the shafts and casings. Okay. Mm, then we I would say here in 8003 we said we'll maintain sections also. So let me say, this is a casing bin. 8002 is a shaft bin. Okay, so we can say which area it belongs to. Okay, I think it doesn't allow me to change once it's created. Let me delete and recreate, and then Now let me see if it's allowing for 8001. No, let me delete and recreate. I'm deleting them, and this time I'll maintain this section. Create and 00301. Okay, I'll 1 and 2 I'll make them as shafts, and 8003 is a casing bin. Okay, so I'll create similar bins in mass. I just created 3 of them. So if we go to 8004, we can also create bins there. It's a bulk storage. 8004 dash 01. It's a complete lane. I can create bins like this. Okay, because there is no so we will see how the storage is, how pallets are kept one above the other, one behind the other. If you're not sure, if you want to create the bins, just create it as O1, O2 for now, and then, but do remember this structure. For wherever the rack storage is there, you follow this structure. Okay, other places you can keep them as 1, 2, 3 at this stage. Okay, so this way, what I'll do offline, I'll create bins for all our storage type. I mean, you can do the same. Please create all your bins and keep them ready so that we can use them in our sessions for testing various scenarios. Okay, so any questions so far?
We will create, yeah, Rohan, like we'll create the storage bins, right? So is there any tables that we need to remember so that we can check for each storage warehouse how many storage bins are created and all?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you can use this CWM LAGP table. That's where you can find all the
Okay.
information about your bins. Okay, so all tables in EWM, they start with a CWM prefix. So yeah, you can search by searching with the CWM any table of EWM. Okay, so
Okay.
LAGP is the table for
Also,
bins.
Rohan, yeah. Also, Rohan, like, do you have any document that for each component in EWM we have tables, right? So, you have any consolidated list for that?
Table. Oh, yeah, I have a list of tables, but
Yeah, all
me
tables.
let me load them into the SharePoint.
Okay.
I will do that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Are we all clear with storage bins? Shall we move ahead to our next element?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
Yes, Ram.
okay, thank you for confirming. So, the next structure element is the activity area. Okay. Now, before we go into activity area, since we have seen doors and staging areas in that visuals, right, in that animation. So let me quickly explain you what is doors and staging area in work center, and then we can come back to activity area. So now, okay, let me list down what are the structure elements. Yeah. So we are talking about this whole unit is comprising of two things, right? Warehouse structure and master data. So let us see, let us list all the structure elements first, and then as and when we cover them, we will mark them as completed. Okay. So structure elements are, we say within the warehouse, what are the structure elements? We say we have storage type, seen that. Storage section, we have seen that and created them. Okay, we have storage bins. Okay, we have doors. Oh, sorry, we have activity area. This is new in EWM. It was not there in WM. Okay, activity area. We have door. We have staging area, and we have work centers. So as of now, we will create them in system, but same way we have created these structure elements, but we'll see, them being used. We'll create them, but we'll see them being used, when we actually start our scenarios. Okay, when we start executing the scenarios. So at this moment, based on this layout, we will create all the structure elements. Okay, so far we have covered these. So now what we will do now is I'm just the next one is activity area. I'll quickly park activity area since this is fresh in our mind. We will first cover door, staging area, and work center. Okay. So we saw in that clip, there were door, the opening, that's a door. Staging area, the space adjacent to that, where you download all your stock. And then, the work center is where you do packing, deconsolidation, all kind of any actions you do on your product. See, a warehouse is basically meant for storing the parts, but it's not that straightforward. The warehouse has to do packing, warehouse has to do inspection, a warehouse has to do labeling. So they what we call them as value-added service activities. So several activities a warehouse is supposed to do. Okay, so for example, you want to send a packet or a box to a customer. Let's say you order an item to Amazon. So first, when the item is picked, from the shelf, it's just a simple. Let's say I ordered a phone. It's just a simple phone. Okay, in its box. Okay, let's say I ordered an iPhone phone in Apple's box. It's there in the shelf. Let's say the person goes and picks a phone. Okay, he cannot just take that phone and put it into a truck, right? So that phone will be taken to a box. We all have seen Amazon have those brown boxes with that smile logo of theirs. So they take it to a area where that box, that iPhone box, will be packed into another Amazon box. It will have a lot of packing, bubble wrap packing, and other packings, other fillers like thermocols and all. And then they will, once they pack it, they will print a label which will have my name, my address. They'll stick it onto that pack, and then it goes onto the truck. Okay, so this activity is a validated service. Like the warehouse has to do this. Okay, to support the shipping or to support the receipt. Similarly, when they get big, big pallets, Apple will not send Amazon, one box of iPhone. They'll send a big pallet which will have thousands of iPhones, right? So one pallet will have thousand iPhone. It will be a big handling unit. So they take that pallet, they have to take it to a work center, open that, and segregate them into each box, or maybe um, just take it out of Apple's temporary box and put it into some plastic pallets and then store it into the bins. So this is another validated service activity that we do. So all these activities are done at work centers. Okay, so typically you have some work centers in the inbound. In our warehouse, we said we'll have work center for inspection, and we will have work center for deconsolidation, where we do this unpacking, or we do this if a pallet comes from a vendor, it has more than one parts, we separate those parts, right, before we put them into the bin. So we do them over here. Then this is the outbound packing, where we put it into like our own packaging, or some customer specific packaging and labeling we do here. So these are at least these three work centers you may have. These are this will, if you see these three work centers, we get good idea about the how the work centers are. Uh, um, Different types of work centers are used in a warehouse. Okay, they will be either of these three types. So if we look, so in this slide, you can go through the definitions and all. I will just take you directly to the final thing. So typically, these structure element of the warehouse is this. Okay, we have the storage types where we store the parts, the 8001, 2, 3, 4, 5. But to support the storage of stock, a warehouse prime role is to store the stock into the bins. But to support them, we have doors. So why we need doors, and we are going to track the doors because we are going to track which truck is at the door. We'll have that information. We'll go into further planning. We have only 10 doors and we have 500 trucks coming a day. We have to plan, which truck comes at what time, right? So doors are limited, the number of trucks are more, so we have to plan our trucks, right? So it's very important. Door is a bottleneck at in some warehouse where there is which is very fast, and a lot of products coming in, okay, and going out. So you can imagine, there are so many trucks going to leave your Amazon warehouse. They have to be given a certain time, okay, and there have to be processes defined. If the truck doesn't come on time, it's late, how do we manage it, and so on. Okay, so there might be a door, extra door for all these kind of exception scenarios. So so you have doors. We need doors for managing the capacity of the warehouse, or managing the ship trucks that are going to come or leave, come and collect or part, or come and deliver the part. Then staging area. Okay, thought there were some questions. So yeah, so staging area is a place where you. So when we actually basically EWM is trying to um, mimic the actual process that happens, right? So when you see a truck comes, the stock is there in the truck, right? So the person, what he does, he goes into the truck, he verifies everything. Sometimes he may do the GR in the truck itself, or he may just take the pallet and say, okay, the pallet is fine, unload it, and then in the staging area he may do the GR. Okay, so the good receipt is posted. The stock is there in the staging area. It's still not there, in the final. So they have just unloaded, just downloaded, just taken out of the truck. But once we take out the truck, where we keep it? So basically, we have different staging areas. So if the truck is here, we may create a bin here to keep the stock here. For this truck, there will be another bin to keep the stock for this truck. Unloaded stock of this truck, another bin here, another bin here. So you may have several bins in the staging areas. So now the person goes and takes the material from the staging area and puts it into the final bin, or puts it into a work center where another, shuffling is done, repacking is done, inspection is done, and then we put it into the final area. Okay. Similar thing you can imagine from an outbound perspective. So we pick the parts, we take them, we pack them, label them, then we put them into the staging area. Now staging area, we will not, if the truck is going to come at DR01 door, we will not put the material at DR05, just into DR05, right? Or there'll be the operators will move and cross each other's flow, right? Cross each other in their movements. So basically, we system should know which door the truck is going to come, and accordingly system will drop into that area, staging area bin closer to the door. So we'll have several bins, okay, here, and we'll stop stage the material into that location closer to that door. So that is the staging area. And then once the truck arrives, we will load. First we unloaded, now we load it onto the truck. This is also physically happening. We are taking the part, putting it into the truck. So now we'll do the goods issue. We say the truck left the warehouse, and then the transportation team will track where it is and how things are being progressed with the delivery and shipment. Okay, so from our warehouse perspective, we are only responsible till the stock is loaded on a truck. After that, stock goes, we print some labels, give it to the driver, bring some delivery notes, bill of lading, give it to the driver, and our job ends there. Okay, so basically, in addition to this, there will be yard also as well. Yard, basically, if you have containers and you are storing them in your yard, that is something additional. But as of now, we will focus on within the warehouse. Okay, so you can also have space adjacent to warehouse where these trucks and trailers are parked and all. We can track that also in system, which we'll see in yard management. But for now, the doors and staging areas and work centers, these are very important within the warehouse basically, and we will create them in system, okay, as per our layout. Okay, so let us see what are the door staging areas in our layout, and then let's create them in the system. Okay, so um, so what we can see here is we have doors over here. Okay, okay, first let me create work centers. So this is still initial days for our warehouse. We will create them. There'll be a lot of fields which we may just see just maintain them, but just keep them blank, and as we proceed with the scenarios we'll maintain those fields. Okay, so let's see the work center configuration first. We'll see work center, then staging area, then door. Okay, so we have three work centers. Extend warehouse management, and here we have master data, work center, define work center. So for a warehouse WH35, you have to simply copy the standard ones and create your own. Okay, now important point that we should be aware of at the stage. So let's say I'm creating this work center. Our work center for outbound, it's a packing work center. It has a work center as a name 8030. Oh, sorry, work center has a name VRP. This is the work center. DKO QINS and VRP. This is the work center name. Okay, but this is work center. But you'll say, hey Rohan, I recollect. We created storage type 8030. Okay, so basically, what we do here is we assign work center to a storage type. Okay, we assign work center to a storage type. So why we need to do that? See, basically, a work center is where you do packing and all, but you are going to keep the stock in work center, isn't it? Then only you're going to do the packing and all, right? We need bin in work center. So since we need bin, we need a storage type. Okay. So basically, this work center we do packing. In this work center, see, work center is some activity or some validated service we are going to do in that place. Okay. So now the settings in a work center will be related to that packing that we are going to do, right? But that work center also stores stock, so it is also a storage type. So we cannot have um, basically a different structure element for storing the stock. It's the storage type. We use it across the warehouse, right? So what we do here is we create a work center, and we say this work center is basically the stock when it comes into this work center, it is 8030. Okay, we don't have section. Other fields are all related to packing, like what the layout is, what how the warehouse, how the layout looks like, when you do a packing, how the screens look like, what all actions you can perform in that work center. You have that information here. There are other things which we'll see as we go ahead. This is related to printing of labels in that work center. Okay, there are some checks and controls which we do at the work center. We will keep that as it is. Okay, so here we are saying this work center is actually this storage type. Okay, then we have a quality work center, which is in the standard it is YQIC. I will say in our warehouse we call it as QINS, and it is 8020. So inspection will be done there in that work center, but the stock will be stored into 8020. Yeah. All these configs, they are related to work center. That's why we don't have them at storage type level. But since we are storing stock there, we are managing the stock in the bin. We need to know the storage type where you are going to create bins for this storage type. Okay, so we have a separate dedicated storage type. So if you see in the standard system, there is nothing for deconsolidation. Okay, so what I will do is I'll simply copy what was the one I was using for packing. I'll simply copy that because deconsolidation, it's a repacking on the inbound side. So where it is packing work center, I'll copy this and say DKO. Let's wait for a minute. It's not responding.
Also, Rohan, what are these external step uh, do we discuss in this in future?
Yeah, we will discuss this in future. So they are basically used in a functionality called a storage control. We'll see that when we cover that.
Okay.
Okay. Mm, 8010. This is consolidation. And this is storage type 8010. Okay, so when process type we haven't covered, so we'll see them. This is layout. It's just something which this is important, which controls what actions you can perform. Again, when we do packing, we will revisit this to do some more settings here. Okay, so we created these work centers. Now we'll create the staging area. Okay, so staging area, and then we'll create the doors. I would like to mention one important point here. So, see, when I go to staging area configuration, it's here, define staging. This is where I create staging area. Okay, so now basically one thing we need to understand here that again, we need some storage type assignment, right? So here the storage type for staging, if you remember, what is the storage type?
Rohan, I lost your screen.
Mm, has anyone else lost my screen?
No, Rohan, it's visible.
Oh, I can see.
Yeah,
Let me
even I
refresh.
can see it is being shared. So maybe you can just reconnect or see some of your local settings, please.
Okay. Thank you. Let me rejoin. Thank you.
Okay, so I was saying, the staging area. So when we created this staging area, our staging area is 9010. Okay, this staging area, when we created, it had a role of I, which is, just ignore work center for now. It is staging area group. Okay, so what is the storage type? This storage type is a staging area group. That means it groups the staging areas. Okay, so what is staging area? So staging area is nothing but it's your storage section. Okay, so what we do here is we create 5 sections here. 5 sections here. Okay, that is our staging area. So staging area, basically we need to understand two things. One, staging area, how it is, basically how these are interconnected to storage tab and section, right? So in the door, in this work center, we assigned storage type to work center. Here we need to we need to understand the interrelationship between the staging area and the storage type bins. So here staging area is nothing but, we say, storage type, how SAP has mapped storage type is equal to staging area group. So is staging area group means grouping of staging area, and in system staging area is nothing but section. Okay, so now it becomes mandatory, right, to create sections in this. So again, it is optional. If you just have one bin, why will you create section? Okay, just don't create them. But if you have multiple bins, like here we said we are going to have five staging area, each for a dedicated door, five for outbound. So we'll create 5 sections, right? So that's how, see, your basic warehouse will just have one bin for all the doors, because it's a very, the warehouse I showed you in my clip, it's very small warehouse. Okay, but if you see a very big warehouse, you can imagine the number of doors Amazon warehouse would have, Walmart warehouse would have. There are warehouses which have, even hundreds of doors. Yeah. So for them, and they are very far from each other. You can see these doors, they are very far from each other. Uh, yeah. So you can see these doors, for example. This is how, typically this is the staging area. Kept close to the door, loaded here. Okay, or they are kept here. Okay. So these are still very close. Sometimes they can be really far from each other, and they will have a dedicated area, and there will be hundreds of doors. So you need to know the location close to the door, otherwise you'll end up, traveling a lot. System uses that door information to know exactly which, near to which door they have to place the part. Okay. So in a small warehouse, you will not create these sections, but as of we are basically, learning the complex warehouse, so we will create, several sections to represent the staging area. So just understand this definition. Storage type equals to staging area group, section equals to staging area. Okay. And we also have bins, right? We generally, if you go through the books, you'll also see term like bins are called as the bins which we create in this area. There will be 5 bins in the inbound, 5 bins on the outbound. We call them as staging base. Okay. So basically for staging area, we don't create something. We just use the existing storage type section and we give them a different name. Okay. Like staging area group, staging area, and staging base. Okay, so here one more thing I would like to tell you or clarify you, that in one staging area you can have multiple bins also. So let's imagine another a typical warehouse where this staging area, we said each door has its bin. This bin also you can divide it into this area which is close to the door, which is a staging area for that door. You can divide that also into multiple bins. Okay, so this door also you can divide it into multiple bins. So this is staging area. This staging area you can create 3 bins or 4 bins. Okay, so basically why you would divide it. So when you're getting the parts from the warehouse, let's say there is delivery one which is expected at 1 o'clock. Okay, so for all that delivery the picker will place the parts here. For delivery which is at 3 o'clock, they'll be placed here. Delivery at 5 o'clock, they'll be placed here. Sorry, they'll be placed here. Okay, so you you can have stage storage bin in one staging area or one section. You can have multiple bins also. Okay, we will we'll create bins, multiple bins as we go ahead in the staging area. That's also possible. For now, let me create sections. Okay, so my warehouse is WH35. I will have to, I said, let me create 3 sections. Okay, for now. I can say storage section or I can say staging area. This is my storage type is 9010 for inbound. And 9020 for outbound. Okay, so I'm going to create three staging areas for now. Okay, okay, 9020. So for our warehouse, see what we are trying to do. We are going to create separate doors, separate staging area for inbound, separate for outbound. See, there are warehouses, small warehouses, which will have same doors for inbound and outbound. The same truck, you can get the material into your warehouse, and same truck you can use that for sending the material out of your warehouse. Okay, so it is possible. Okay, so you can have just one staging area, let's say 9050, and use that 3 sections for inbound and outbound both. So now what do we do in this config? In this config, we say warehouse WH. Yes, this is where we define whether the doors or the staging area are going to be only for inbound or outbound as well. So 9010 section staging area is nothing but section. So if you do a stage F4 in staging area, it will show you all the sections, yeah, that we just created. It is used for GR, not for GI. Okay, so I've created my staging areas. So there is something called as loading rule. So generally we maintain it as 02. That means loading can start when 01, whenever the HU is in the staging area. You can start immediately the loading, or you need to wait for all the deliveries of that, all the pallets for that delivery. We want to be flexible. Any pallet, even if it's available, not all pallets are available, just simply load them, allow us to do the loading. Okay, so we have created as this way we create our staging areas. Okay, so just I'm reducing from 5 to 3, so it's going to be the same. So we have just created the storage section and then map them as staging areas. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, if no questions, then shall we take a quick 5 minutes break?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, it's
Rohan, you
one.
were saying we need to create.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Rohan. So you were saying this for these staging areas, we will have multiple bins, right? So are we creating bins also for them?
Yeah, we will create bins also for them. Yeah, let us do the config. Bin we'll do as we go ahead. Yeah, we'll create bins as well.
Then Rohan, like these bins and say for example, the storage type, rack storage type. So there also we will place the goods once the goods are delivered into warehouse, right? These bins are those
Yes.
bins are different, or how it is
See,
managed?
in
So,
system, the same bin master is used, but the storage type is different. So when you unload the stock
mhm.
from a truck, you put them into the staging area bins, and then from these bins into those rack bins you're going to move.
Okay, so the naming convention is same. So
See, there are no racks here, so I'll create bins like a. See, it depends on my name, what naming convention I would like to make. I would say, I would create a bin 9020-0001-01. Okay, so from looking at the name itself, I know it is storage type, and this is the staging area, and this is first bin of the staging area.
okay.
Okay.
And then goods in that bin will be placed again into rack storage bin, right?
From this bin, yes, it will go to the rack storage.
Oh, okay.
So first the stock will come in from the truck into this area, and then from this area it will go into the final location.
Okay.
And Rohan, a door is a storage type, and that would connect the receiving dock to the warehouse. Is there any mapping?
Yes, there is a mapping.
So
We'll
it will
see
connect
doors,
the.
once we come back, we'll see the doors as well.
Okay. Okay.
Let's take a 5 minutes break. We'll continue with our questions once we are back. Yeah, just we'll come back at 1:06. Hello. Hi. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, Rohan.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, it took me some more time preparing coffee. So yeah, are there any other questions? So I think the dock question, how do we map it through doors? We'll see that now. But I hope staging area is clear with everyone now.
Yes, sir.
Rohan, I had one question here.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
So for the flow that you showed, first the goods will arrive goods, then
Mm-hmm.
it will move to the staging area, and then from the staging area to the work centers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So in the normal WM, we have those interim storage types. So
Mm-hmm.
the storage type that we define for staging area in EWM, those are considered as interim storage types.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you will not find those words in EW interim bins, interim staging areas. We
Okay.
don't use them. Okay. And also the bin transaction, there is a transaction to create interim bins LX20 that also is not there in EWM.
Okay.
Okay, so we use staging areas.
Okay.
Yeah, but you will find some similarity in how the bins are determined, and but we don't use those terminologies interim. Okay. All right, let's move on to doors now. Hmm. So we covered staging area, work center. Now it's time for door. So door, it's pretty much straightforward. We just create them. As of now, we will create, let's say three doors for inbound, three for outbound, and we will use them in our scenarios. Okay. Let me copy them. Makes it easy for me. Three doors inbound, three doors outbound. DR door I for inbound, door O for outbound. Direction inbound for the ones which are coming in, direction outbound for the ones which are going out. And then when we create doors, you will see that what is the default staging area. See, again, you need to understand, it's a default. See, what happens, ideally, we would prefer that, the door is here, the staging area is here. So always the shock should be placed here. Okay, or take in case of outbound, door is here, staging area is here. Always we'll try to put it closer to the door. What if this area is totally filled? There is too much load today and on this door. We should be able to put it in other staging area. Okay, so it is a default staging area. We can system can or you can also keep it to DR02. There are less pallets in DR02. You can use that staging area for door one. Okay, so it is a default. We'll try to default it here to door one to staging area one, door two to staging area two. But yeah, we said it's not going to be always there. There will be some scenarios where we may have to place it to adjacent staging areas. Okay, we have done this. That's it. Those are created. So as of now, I would just like to mention that this is just the creation of the structural element. There will be a lot of assignments and a lot of you know um, changes to these configs or changes to them as we go ahead. As of now, we have just tried to keep it as close as possible to standard and created the structure for a warehouse. So when based on our process scenarios, we'll come and change them wherever required. Okay, so that was the door config. Okay.
Uh, Rohan, just a quick
Mm-hmm.
question.
Yeah, yeah.
So in this case, the door is a storage type that will connect the receiving dock or the staging area to the warehouse, or is it like?
So door is here at this point. We have it assigned. See, there was some correlation between work center and storage type. I
Oh,
understand the question. There was some correlation between storage type and staging area. Why there is no correlation here? to any storage type bin, right?
Yes. So door will connect the yard to the warehouse.
Yes, that's correct. It connects yard to the warehouse, and there is some master data settings using which we connect we connect door to the storage types and bin.
Okay.
And we'll see that when we maintain these settings for yard and shipping.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so in the config we don't assign we have to do it as part of master data.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so we
Thanks.
assign bin. Yeah. Okay. For the question, then shall we move to activity areas? Activity areas. Okay. Now, activity area is very important, and what we will do today, I'll try to lead on the foundation for activity area. We may not be able to cover it completely today, but I want to do it start today so that at least you get a basic idea, and then once the basic understanding is clear, we can tomorrow reinstate it, and then I think it will be more clear if we repeat it two days, today and tomorrow. Okay. So this activity area, okay, many people they find it complex or difficult to understand. I'll make you understand with some very basic example and give you background why this was introduced and everything. It is very simple if you are able to connect the dots, okay, and understand the purpose, the need, and you will also appreciate this structure element. Okay, so first of all, activity area is, I would say, it's a virtual. Why virtual? Because you have a storage type. This is area. This is storage type. This is virtual grouping of bins. So you would say virtual means physically there is no activity area. Okay. So this is storage of bins. These are actually bins which you are going to group together. Okay, we'll see that how. So first thing which you need to keep in mind is, okay, you see the bin in a structure element, you see a door, you see a staging area. You will not see an activity area. The same storage type you will group them. Okay, these five aisles activity area 1, these five aisles activity area 2. You will group them for what purpose? For performing your warehouse activities better, like inbound, outbound, putting away the stock, removing the stock. So let's go with basic definition. Okay, so now we understood it's virtual grouping. And it's not mandatory. Okay, it's kind of an optional. You can choose not to group your bins within the storage type or across storage type. Okay, so it's virtual grouping of bins, I would say, within the storage type, within a storage type, or across a storage type. Like bins across storage types also. Okay. That means bin of storage type 8001 and a bin of storage type 8002, they can be part of the same activity area. They can be within the same activity area. Okay, so for understanding activity area, we should understand what is activity in warehouse. What are the activity in a warehouse? So we have different activities in the warehouse, right? So what are these activities? We do picking, we do put away, we do internal movements, we do physical inventory. So these are the activity codes given to the different activities that we do in system. Okay, we do replenishment, we do posting change. I think STCH something. Yeah, I think these are the main activities that we do in a warehouse. So now what is activity area? It's grouping of bin for each activity. So I would like to create a storage type here. Okay, this is the top view of a storage type. Let's say storage type is 8001. So 8001 we have, let's say, aisles. Okay, aisle 1. I'm making slightly bigger aisles so that it's easy to understand. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now let's say we have a GR area here. And 010 we know now. Yeah. Okay. We have a goods issue area here. Okay, products come here, then from here into here. Okay, so in this entire storage type 8001, we'll be performing these activities. Okay, as of now, we are clear with this definition. Yeah, we know what is this, what are we trying to do here. Now, just now start thinking from of a warehouse supervisor. Okay, now as a warehouse supervisor, generally, this activity area concept is used in picking. Okay, because you see picking, what happens is, picking basically put away, it's very straightforward. So you get a big pallet of 1,000 iPhones, you just place the pallet. But when you pick, out of one pallet you're picking 1,000 times, isn't it? So the picking frequency is a lot more than put away. So 1 is 2,000, right? In case of iPhone, very rarely, some customer offers, iPhones more than one, right? So, so picking needs, generally the need came through picking. Okay, it can be used in put away also, but we'll focus for understanding perspective. We'll focus on picking. Now let's say we have work areas. Okay, what we'll do is, so this diagram will come back again. Maybe as we go ahead, we'll again and again come back to this diagram. Okay, so let's say these are my three, and then what we'll also do here is we'll also say there is another adjacent to this, there is another room here which is 8002. So this is 8001, and here we have 8002. Here onwards, just keep it now with, just let's say aisle. This is one of the aisle of 8002. Okay, just we can understand some uh, extension across storage type also using this. So now here, basically what I'm doing here user A. Okay, user. Okay, so let's take some of our names. Let's say Dinesh, Arjun, and Anubhav. Okay, these are the three users. Arjun, Anubhav, and these are the three users. Just imagine, how a warehouse supervisor has managed this area. Okay, what he has done. Okay, and he's Dinesh. Okay, what the supervisor has done, he has told user Arjun, you are responsible for aisle 1 and 2. Anubhav, you are responsible for aisle 3 and 4. Okay, and basically you are responsible for doing picks only. Okay, so what the supervisor has done, he has splitted the work across users. Now, what basically Arjun's job is, to take the stock from here. Okay, this is Arjun's work area. Okay, he takes it here, comes here, and puts this stock into the GI area. This is Arjun's routine. Okay, this is what he does daily. Picks the stock, move it to GI area, and that's it. And he'll again go back and start picking the next orders. Anubhav, same thing. He's just responsible for these cells. Now we why they are only responsible to. I see these cells may be very big. They may be 5 6 levels. One and eight stack 6 7 levels, and the flow is so much. So they are just simply removing the stock one at a time, and they are making a box, and then they are keeping in the staging area. Ideally, they would take it to packing and all. I'll just keep it simple. Just they are kind of moving it here. Okay. So now here on Dinesh, this is his work area. This is how the product goes out of your aisles. Okay. Now let's pick somebody who will do inbound. Let me pick Vasant. Yeah. So Vasant, let's say he is the inbound guy. So I explained briefly what happens in inbound. We have less flow in inbound, right? Because you have pallets coming, and one person usually is enough to do the inbound for this area. Okay, so let's say Vasant, he's the inbound guy. Okay, he goes, this is his route. Okay, so what he does basically is he is supposed to drop the material from back of this, from behind these aisles. So for aisle 1, he's going to drop the pallet from here into here, and wherever the bin is empty, he keeps on dropping pallets from behind. Okay, same way for 3, he's going to drop from here. For 4, he's going to drop from here. What we are saying essentially here, for put away, one person is enough for the storage because the flow is not there. And so basically the colors that we have highlighted here, these are the travel routes. We don't want Vasant to go inside here. Why? Arjun may be working. So he we have to wait here till Arjun, hey Arjun, can you come out? I have to go inside. That will not be a good way, right? You are wasting time, right? Arjun says, I cannot come out for another 30 minutes. I'm in a picking of, 30 items across 20, 30 bins. I will not come out for 30 minutes. I'm busy. Vasant has to wait there, right? So the warehouse supervisors or wherever the warehouse designs are being made, they are made in such a manner that the work is independent and not dependent on somebody doing something. Okay. So if you observe here, Vasant is doing away. These guys are doing picking. Okay. So the supervisor here, he has split it the storage type into several, some may call it as zones. Many warehouse designs they call them as zones. Some may call it as we in EWM we call them as activity areas, but very commonly the business term is zones. They have divided the area into several zones and assigned them to users. Now, if a material is supposed to be picked from here, let's say there's a product here M-01, there's a product here M-04, there's a product here M-05, M-03, just randomly saying, yeah, M-02, and there's a product here M-17. So now whenever the picking request is coming for M-03, it will only go to Arjun. Okay, let's say the same customer wants these 6 parts. There'll be 3 pick requests created, one for Arjun, one for Anubhav, one for Dinesh. They'll take the parts separately and put it into a staging area where they'll be packed and goods issued. Okay, so this is very simple example. 3 items. Your number of lines can go up to hundreds. In some warehouses, right? So just imagine when you're picking for production supply in case of a car manufacturing, where there are 2600 items in a bill of material. How many parts there'll be, right? In a pallet, right? So it can be very huge as well. So what we have done here, I have splitted my storage type in picking, but I haven't splitted my storage type in put away. So these, what we do here is Vasan, for example, these zones, I have to assign them some name. So that name is activity area. So activity area is splitting or grouping of bins for the purpose of performing some activity. Here I am grouping for the purpose of performing picking. So my activity area here is 801A, okay, for Arjun, 801B, Anubhav, 801C or D, Dinesh. So what I've done, I have created, this is my activity area now. These are my activity areas. So in my storage tab, I have splitted them into 3 activity areas. These activity areas are not, you should understand, these are not for all activities, only for picking. So only for picking, I have 01A, 801B, 801D, only for picking. By the way, I don't have any activity area. I have not, you know, split it basically, but still I need to have some activity area. So what we do is I will say, okay, since I have not split it, why don't I use the same code for activity area? So I'll say the activity area for Vasant is 8001, same as storage type. Why we need to do 801B where the group as per the storage type and group as per put away same. So the activity area for put away is 8001. Okay. So what we do here, this is called as generic activity area. Okay, generic activity area means you are not splitting them. Storage type equal to activity area. Activity area equals to storage type equals to 8001. We call them as generic activity area. That means we are not using it. In a warehouse in 8001 have splitted the storage type into several activity areas for the purpose of performing an activity which is picking. but it is not mandatory. I would have said the only person Arjun is responsible for all 6 aisles. He does the picking. That's how my flow is. So it is not mandatory use. It is basically depends on how your picking is, how your see you go to the supervisor, you talk to him how you manage your picking. He said, one person picks everything. Okay, simple. One generic activity area for picking. That's it. It tells you this zone thing, then you need to create activity areas. It tells you, like there are multiple pickers and they can Arjun, Anubhav, Dinesh can pick across everything. You create one activity area because they are not splitting their areas, the work zones. Okay, and they are not assigned to dedicated areas. So what SAP has done here, SAP has introduced activity areas to give us the flexibility. We do If it was WM, I had to create 3 storage types here, right? For 8001 A, B, D, I had to create 3 storage types because I'm splitting my zones, work areas. Okay, that is now possible. Or we had something like a pick areas, right? So now we use activity areas here, and so that was same like WM. So what is additional in EWM? In EWM, the additional thing is you can also group bins across aisles. So across storage type. Okay. So for example, if Dinesh is also assigned to an aisle of 8002, activity area is not restricted to activity area is not restricted to storage type. You can also assign bins of another storage type as well. So activity the bins of 8002, let's say this is a bin 8002. Sorry, the bin is let's say 8002 dash 01 dash 01 whatever. Yeah, it will have put away activity area, let's say as 8001 8002, sorry, but for picking, since it's part of Dinesh's job, so you can also say 801B. So what I'm trying to say here is your bins across storage types are grouped into activity areas. So activity area, grouping of bins for the activity, and it's bins. I have not told bins within a storage type. Bins, any storage type, yeah. So that again gives us the flexibility. It was not possible in WM to do these kind of pick areas across storage type. We couldn't do that. Okay. Now, when we do this 801D, then we basically bin has to be assigned to activity area. We need to know which bin belongs to which activity area. That is what we'll see tomorrow in the system. But what we have done here is created generic activity areas for put away. Other activities also you can do the same thing. You create generic ones or you create special ones if you have some zoning or grouping requirement. Only in special scenarios we do this. 80 to 90% of a storage type will have generic for picking, put away everything. Things like your open things like kept in the yard or kept in the what do we say in the shade. Your shafts are kept over there. Your panels are you know kept over there. Why would you do these things like creating um, zones and other thing? Not required. One person picks whatever shaft, whatever panels are required. Don't need a complex setup there, right? But this area, you can see this area is very crucial. These are very high narrow aisles. There's a special these have special very narrow aisle trucks are there. These users are specialists in driving those trucks and removing the parts. The trucks cannot come out and go here. That can also be a possibility. Like the trucks are restricted within this area, very narrow trucks. Yeah, so if you want to see, you can see that as VNA trucks. See this truck, very narrow trucks. They cannot even sometimes they are they cannot come out of the area also. Okay, they just See this, so narrow it is, and you can see a truck here, and it only moves within that area. And see how dense it is, 3, 4, I think 8 to 10 levels high. You can see this guy, yeah, just moving within those two aisles. This is very common storage because of limitation of space. You go high, you go dense, you cannot increase space of a warehouse. So this is how you store. So how do you work in your projects? So when I go for my implementations, I don't start with creating zones and I don't bring this topic the first day. I will create generic area for all storage types. So we need to create activity areas for all. I'll create generic for everything, and then I'll wait for the process discussion. There the users will say, hey, I this is how we want to pick, this is how we want. Then I'll say, okay, I don't need to tell them what activity area is. So basically, as they understand recipe more and more, they'll try to understand what activity area is. But day one, I don't need to open this. It can be quite confusing. It's a bit technical for them initially, but yeah, slowly, you have to do that. But to start with, the first step is to create generic areas, and then as and when required, you change the activity areas like this. Create separate activity areas as per the requirement. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, the rest of the time, I'm going to create generic activity areas for all the storage type. And tomorrow we'll come and create dedicated activity areas. So each aisle, we do the assignment, we understand what is sorting and how the bins, we created bins, how the bins are assigned to activity areas. We'll understand all those steps. But yeah, before we
Rohan, can we also do this picking from the generic area also? Or if we have specified like 801A, so is it mandatory to do like picking from this activity area?
I didn't understand mandatory. I didn't get your
No,
question actually.
no, I am saying like if if we have made like one generic area, okay,
Hmm.
so we can pick from there also, or if or not, like from the generic
You
area.
can pick from there also generic area. No problem. You create
Okay,
generic activity area, you can pick from there also. No problem.
okay. So how to like, is there any priority or something like we have to pick from?
See, you need to understand your parts. Generic area like a shaft or a panel or any bulky part, it's kept in your general area. Here, your bearings, your mountings of a pump, all those things are kept. Small parts are kept in this. So your parts which are stored in the generic area outside in the generic area are different than the parts which are stored here.
Okay,
So
okay,
you will not store the same part at three different places. So if I have iPhones and Apple will store iPhones only here, right? Why he will store
okay,
iPhone 11 here, iPhone 12 in some other area? I'll say, okay, this whole storage type is for iPhones,
okay,
right? So we generally group the products and store them in one place so that it's easy to pick and
okay.
identify.
Hmm.
The same family gets stored in the same area.
Okay,
So if at all you are storing across, and the only criteria is whichever is the oldest stock, system tries to pick that one. So it may be if your product is stored across storage type, the oldest one will be picked wherever it is stored.
okay, okay.
Okay. Mm, okay, I need to create generic activity areas. Let me create that quickly. So SAP has given us a transaction. We go to master data. So today I want you all to, again spend some time understand this yourself. Just spend some time understand that you really able to understand. It's very simple um, and very useful. Spend some time going through this thing that we have done here, and just see if you understand. If you don't understand, just let me know tomorrow. Again, we'll go through it. Okay. So all the storage types needs activity area. Okay, every bin needs an activity area assignment. So if you have created the bin, that is not enough. The bin is creation is not enough, and we need to assign them to activity area. Then only we'll be able to use them. Okay, so if these bins whichever I've created, they need to show me activity areas here. So tomorrow we'll do something called as sorting, which will assign the bins to the activity areas. Okay, so now I create generic activity areas for all the storage types. Okay, just come here, execute, done. That's it. And what it has created, we'll see that tomorrow in the system. Okay, so for each storage type, see these are all the standard activities: inventory, picking, put away, replenishment, stock change, cross-line put away. So SAP is generic activity area across all storage types. I'll just, it's one to one. As of now, it is saying that you don't need any grouping. Okay, so things like staging area, I don't need grouping. Yeah. So, okay. So you need for all, even for your doors, even for staging areas, even for work center, storage type, all storage types you need them. So if you think, if you guys have worked in WM, the whole idea here is to give you the flexibility. Okay. And a lot of configuration which you are at storage type level now have moved to activity area level. That's why you need to understand this properly. Every warehouse will find activity area, even though they are not splitting them, but at least you will see 1:1, generic activity areas. Okay, so that's done. I've created generic activity areas, what it has done, it has created config in these three, you know, in these three nodes, it has done the configuration. So if you see here, WH35, you can see it has created general activity area for all the storage type that we have created here. Okay, so now since we have some time, we will just quickly create these activity areas also here. Okay, so let me create 801A. I'll say activity area for 8001 aisle 1 and 2. Okay, 001B aisle 2 and 3 and 4, sorry. So 1D aisle 5 and 6. So there is we for picking we are going to use these activity areas. So put away we could use generic activity area for 8001. Okay, so there are two more configuration. So here we say warehouse WH35. Okay, activity area 801A. It belongs to storage type 8001 and it belongs to aisle 01202. Okay, then similarly I'll say WH35 activity area 801B belongs to storage type 8001 aisle 22 aisle 32 aisle 4. Okay, then WH35 801D, I'll say it belongs to 8001 aisle 5 to aisle 6. Okay, and we also say that 800 WH35, it also 801D, the one which Dinesh is working, he's also working in storage type of he's also working storage type aisle and also aisle 1 is clubbed with him. Yeah, so Dinesh is working in 8002 as well. Yeah, so Dinesh, there are 3 aisles. Okay, this is how we group them. See, now you may ask me this question that, okay, you said, that it's flexible, but here we are restricting as per aisle. So see, we, we'll see that tomorrow, when you don't need to do as per aisle. Okay, so if I say Dinesh, she's only working half bins of this, that is also possible. Okay, you don't need to see, for ease of understanding, I've taken aisle as my grouping criteria, but you can also work without aisles. Okay, we can use stack as well, you can use level, or you can use something not in system. You can create your own groups and put it into the system. Okay, let's say bin 1 bin, 2 bins of aisle 1, 2 bins of aisle 2, 4 bins of aisle. See, any group you can create and you can put it into the system. So let's say Arjun was responsible for picking parts in here, this area, first half, and Anubhav was responsible for picking parts in the second half of the aisles. That also you can create groups in this way also. Okay, so there are like a bin upload transaction. You have a transaction upload your groups where you can upload the way you want to group your bins. Okay, so we'll see that tomorrow. So I'll stop here today. Okay, let me do the last config also, then we'll move to sorting only yesterday. Sorry, tomorrow we'll directly move to sorting itself. So now, we created this activity area. Now we need to say, which activities you're going to perform there. Okay, so 801, 8001, we are performing internal. Okay, we are performing inventory, but we are not going to perform pick. Okay, in 8002, we are not going to perform pick. Okay, so I'm going to delete them. So pick in 8001 is going to be performed in 3 activity areas, 801A, so here I'm going to say, what activities I'm going to perform in 801A. B and 801D. Okay. Dinesh is also going to perform pick in 801D in storage type 8002 as well. Okay. So here the previous screen we created activity areas. Now we are saying what activity we are going to perform. We are only going to do picking. For internal picking replenishment, we are continuing to use the generic activity area. So this way we have done the config. We will again come tomorrow into this config, revisit that. We will understand now the next thing which you need to understand is how to assign these activity areas to the bins. We have created them, but then we have to assign them as well. Okay. So any questions so far?
Rohan, like for Dinesh, you have given sequence number 2. So if, for example, same product is in uh, both the aisles, so
Mhm.
it will prioritize sequence number 1, right?
No, whichever is the older stock.
Okay, okay, okay. And where we have to define this thing like older stock
We'll see that
statement.
there is a system
Okay,
stores that information where the older
okay,
stock is stored.
okay.
So the oldest stock system stores the GR date to that way it knows which stock is the oldest. Whenever we see the stock and whenever we get stock into a warehouse, we'll see
Okay.
that. So we'll stop here for today. Tomorrow we'll do the sorting to assign bins to activity areas, and then we will start the master data. Okay. So any questions before we end for today? Anything anybody would like to discuss? Okay, if no question, then we will end the session for today. Just one update, guys. I would like to, take 2.5 hours on Saturday, and close to 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours on Sunday. Okay, so I hope it's okay with everyone.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
Rohan.
fine.
Yeah, because I
Yes,
have,
Yeah, it's fine.
I have an appointment, um, at 1:30, so I'll have to close a bit early on Sunday. So ideally we would take 2.5 hours, but yeah, due to this appointment which may continue for some time, I'll have to finish close to 2 hours on Sundays. Okay, we'll make up
Rohan,
Saturday.
Rohan, one more thing. Do you have some PDF for some book on EWM which you can share?
I'll load them right away. I'll load the
Okay,
EWM 100 book. You can start reading
okay,
those books now
okay.
onwards. Okay, so please check after 15 minutes. I'll load the table as well as the books in the system and in the shared drive.
Okay, thank you, Rohan.
Okay, all right, guys. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow. We'll continue with our further discussions on master data and structure elements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Yeah. Bye,
Thanks, Rohan.
Rohan. Thank
Thank you all.
Bye, bye.
you. Yes.